Life is full of forces that attempt to disturb our balance. Sometimes it is a careless insult, sometimes a deliberate attack. Sometimes the slow erosion of patience in the face of injustice or rudeness. The common thread behind all of these experiences is provocation, the attempt to awaken in us an ungoverned reaction. Yet the wisdom of philosophy, especially the Stoic tradition, reminds us that the one who provokes does not truly control us. It is our own judgment, our own failure of discipline, that grants power to the external. When a person insults you, they present you with nothing but words, sounds carried on the air. These words possess no intrinsic harm. The harm only arises if your soul grants them entrance, if you allow yourself to be disturbed, if you let anger transform you from within. The Stoics taught that the world can place obstacles in your path, but it cannot decide how you will respond. Your reason, your inner fortress, remains your own. To be provoked, then, is to surrender your fortress without a fight. Consider the man who lashes out in rage at the smallest slight. His enemies rejoice, for they have mastered him. A single phrase, a mocking gesture, and his peace is destroyed. He becomes a servant not of reason, but of his own passions. And worse still, he is directed by the will of another. Contrast this with the man who remains composed. He hears the insult, perhaps even acknowledges its existence, but he does not allow it to touch his center. In his stillness lies true strength. His enemy grows frustrated, for they cannot move him. The discipline of not being provoked is not passivity. It is not the cowardice of inaction, but the courage of self-mastery. Anyone can strike back in anger. That requires no strength. But to feel the fire rise within and yet contain it, to transform it into calm deliberation, this is the mark of character. The warrior who controls his sword is stronger than the one who swings it wildly. Likewise, the thinker who governs his own reaction is greater than the one who is pulled like a puppet by every insult. We must remember, provocation is a test. The world constantly examines whether you are sovereign over yourself. Each encounter is an opportunity to prove that your tranquility is not at the mercy of others. If you succeed, you gain not only peace but freedom. For what greater freedom exists than to be unshaken when the world tries to shake you? Do not mistake this teaching for indifference. To refuse provocation does not mean that injustice should be ignored or that harm should be tolerated. It means that when you act against injustice, you do so from clarity, not from blind rage. The Stoic does not submit, he resists with reason. His refusal to be provoked ensures that his actions remain aligned with virtue rather than corrupted by passion. Ask yourself, how often have you regretted anger? And how often have you regretted patience? The angry man destroys his own peace, often his own reputation, and sometimes his own future. The patient man preserves his dignity. Even if he later decides to act, he acts from strength, not from weakness. Therefore, guard your mind as a fortress. Let insults, rumors, and provocations knock at the gate, but keep the gate closed. Remember that those who seek to disturb you cannot reach your reason unless you allow them to. Their arrows fall harmlessly against stone walls if you remain steadfast. True victory is not to silence your enemy, but to silence the turmoil within yourself. For no one can provoke a man who refuses to hand over his peace. He remains untouchable, invincible, not because he fights every battle, but because he chooses only the battles worthy of his spirit. In the end, the provoker seeks one thing only, your reaction. Deny them this gift. Let them exhaust themselves against your calm. Stand as a mountain before the winds. Let the storm rage around you and remain still. This is the essence of Stoic strength. The world may try to disturb you, but you decide whether disturbance enters your soul. Do not let yourself be provoked.